I know how you do.
You have a lot of shenanigans.
I
That's
love the
it.
shenanigans. She puts up with all of them. She's like, okay, whatever.
Just smiles.
She just smiles.
It's
It's
good.
good.
I
fucking love you. I love you.
I get your brain. I get your brain completely.
I love it. And I love that the start of a podcast is like this. You know, I mean, really, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So, I have to tell you, like, it's been really busy recently. You know, things are really taking off with my coaching program, which is awesome. And the book, awesome. And we're also setting up a new hospice practice.
You're amazing.
And
like remedial labor setting up though, not actually.
do you see this hair?
Yeah, remedial like Allen wrenches and like fingers cracking. So
God, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I wasn't built for manual labor.
In an eclipse portal and a retrograde at the same time, casually. Gotta love it. Sounds like a busy
But
place.
we're having fun. I mean, he is so awesome and he puts up with my shenanigans.
so does Elle. It seems like everyone around you puts up their shenanigans.
Yeah, and what can I say? I'm blessed.
Must be nice.
It's so nice.
I get a line a little bit, and that's it.
I love it. I love.
So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to kind of talk about the book. I wrote it, but we experienced it for 10 years and researched it, read a ton of books and implemented into our lives, connected with our community, learned from our community, implement our lives. And being, you know, two physicians doing this work, it was very rigorous. I'm going to continue to do it, do all the work that we have in the book, that is written in the book. And it took me 2 years to write it. And he edited it, which was like, oh my God. I was about to actually put it away and not finish it. And then he's like, how about I edit it for you?
Yes, talk about editing, right? You send it to somebody and you pay him thousands of dollars, and the book comes back worse than it was. It loses the voice. There's still syntax issues, all kinds of problems. But that's the minutia. I think the big thing, and you always downplay it, is after medicine, we were both done with residency, and we're both pretty toasty. We're like, I think we're leaving Western medicine. And both of us were like, we trained way too long to just walk away right now. So we started trying stuff. We just would look stuff up, evidence-based or not, like suggestions, and we would read whatever's available, and then we would try it. So we went through 40 plus approaches, I would say. And then some of them are very wishy-washy. It's like, oh, you know, close your eyes and let everything go. And you're like, oh, okay, like how do I do that?
How?
And then it just keeps talking about what you need to do, but doesn't give you the framework. And so sometimes we had to put the framework together. And then if it still didn't work, then we would kind of drop that approach. And I think what Lita did amazingly well, Dr. Fatemi did amazingly well, is she was able to summarize the ones that actually seemed to work, had a backbone to them, had some meat on the bone. And then she added her own twists from our practice, the things that did work. So it's what's in the book is less than half of what we actually tried. And then Dr. Fatemi is more eloquent than I, and she wrote it up beautifully. And then I think that's where the accolades should really fall. It's not that, you know, we tried these things and we wrote them up. Lita wrote them up. It was more like we tried a lot of stuff. And then the stuff that didn't work, we put by the wayside. The stuff that did, we kept practicing and then modified it and then made it work to the point where I'm still not leaving medicine. I'm almost a decade in, and I've learned to be, you know, okay with these environments that would most often break people, and they constantly do. So it, you know, and it's because of what's in the book.
Yeah. And I love how you said, and these are best practices is how I like to call them. Best practices for living a good life, a life that is balanced physiologically. Your body feels good, your mind feels good, your heart is open. And we brought these in to give them legs. You know, because people say meditate and then most people don't know how to. Or people say, oh, breathing is good. But what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? I had so many questions about what was being suggested by a lot of people. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea how to let go. Like, the more I want to let go, the more I hang on to it. Like, what is the process of doing this work that you can truly be present for each other, with heart, you know? And so it's truly a lot of pearls, a lot of gems that we brought forward from our experiences. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been super fun going through this whole journey too. Also, giving birth to the book was another part of the journey.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to steal this from her because she's going to do it, but I'm going to add to it. Okay. I'm stealing this right now. She keeps saying that it's like giving birth to an elephant, but that's only 2 years. And that's how long it took her to write it. She ignores the fact that it was actually a decade. So it's like giving birth to 5 baby elephants. That's a lot more elephants than one elephant. Okay. Call
You're
a spade
so
a spade.
right. Oh my God. It's so true. And for those, from the audience who have the book already or who are getting it now and reading it, it truly is. There's a lot of baby elephants in that book.
Yeah. So let's bring it back to the person that knows nothing about this. So, as we heard, the title of the book itself is called Conscious Physician Method, Conscious Life Practices in Psilocybin, correct?
Yes.
That is the elephant we speak of. And it's a gorgeous amalgamation of conscious life practices, psilocybin education, guidance for microdosing with psilocybin, and an overview of macrodosing with psilocybin. So just grounding us in what this beautiful offering is. So digestible, so easy to read, and so full of humanity. And like you said, you've tried all these things over a decade of lifespan and refined it for the listener to indulge and make real this beautiful channel of intentionality, like that is what this is. It's a quick portal into a lived life of practice. And for me, an individual that doesn't actively practice these but is inspired to begin, it's a guidebook of it's a guidebook of intentionality, of remembering that we're souls in these bodies that are beautifully designed and we have the keys to optimization. And I know that word can be charged for many, but it's such a refreshing reminder that we are in control of how we experience this life in so many ways. Of course, there are elements that are out of our control, but there's a large, beautiful opportunity for us to play scientists and, again, optimize how we experience this reality. So just wanted to ground us in what this is and the yumminess of it. And it's also so beautiful and personal. I know that since you've begun this project, we've heard little pieces of what shaped your world and quite literally culturally where you were born growing up in the terrorist regime in Iran, and hearing the specificities of what your subconscious was exposed to and what drew you to work with the psychedelic realm as a medicine for understanding what lives in you that might not be alive in conscious awareness. It's just an invitation to meet ourselves in that way too. So much love for who you be and just what this is, and wanted to ground us in that.
I love that, Elle. Thank
She's
you.
so eloquent. I have nothing to say.
See, we get excited and jump all over the place.
And then Elle was like,
I was like, come in.
Yeah.
I got you.
Listen, birthing an elephant's a big deal. So I had to give an outside perspective.
oh, we're already in where the elephant is like a couple of months old and we're like talking about that. I don't know, it's like, no, thank you so much for that beautiful, you're so eloquent in how you speak, and the cohesion that comes with it is so wonderful. And yes, to all of it. And we all go through things, all of us. It's not that, oh, my trauma is, there's no comparison. Each individual is going through a journey in their own way, in, their own container and culture. And just knowing that all these things do affect us, even if we think they don't. And oftentimes when later on in life, there's a challenging moment in life comes up, that's when the light bulb goes off and you're like, I need to examine my life, all the feelings that I've pushed away for so long not to deal with. My burnout was when it was, for me, it was like, hello, red flags all over the place. You are going the wrong direction. Let's turn around towards yourself, and you still have light, even though you think you don't. But all you got to do is turn around, look at it, and keep taking steps. As difficult and as much resistance that you may feel within you, take those steps. Tiny little steps. They don't have to be huge. None of this is overnight. Can you go through it with a little bit more ease and a little faster? You can when you include psychedelics, but it has to be with the proper guidance. It has to be in a safe space. It's got to be with intentionality, because these medicines are like playing with fire. They're not just, today I feel like it, so I'm gonna And that's fine too, but you may just not get the answers that you're looking for. So,
And the way the book is written is actually very intelligent. It's not starting with psychedelics and practices. It's starting with what should be implemented before you even consider psychedelics, which I think where a lot of modern society goes wrong. Oh, the moms at school are microdosing. I'm going to take 3 grams today. That's my microdose, without any intention setting, without any life practices. They're burned out. And then they have this, like, they lose their mind and they're like, oh, that was awful. And then no one integrates them afterwards. But a lot of the integration, you need a facilitator.
yes.
As yourself, but also you need personal practices, which is what this book is about. So before you even start staring down that path, which is an important path that you bring up, I think mastering, or at least giving every life practice before the last third of the book a true shot, and making sure you at least understand what it is before moving on to the psychedelics portion is very important.
It's very important. The word psychedelic means mind manifesting. So wherever you are in your journey, when you're using a psychedelic, then that is what manifests. Let's say you are in a horrific, ruminating trauma space. Guess what's going to be showing up? It's going to be like on blast, right? When you are engaged in a psychedelic medicine. And if you are in a beautiful space of groundedness and centeredness and optimized neurobiology and physiology, and you enter that space, guess what's going to come up? Beautiful things will come up, and the trauma might come up, but you have tools to be able to examine them in a way that you wouldn't be able to otherwise, integrate what you learn in a way you wouldn't be able to otherwise, and come out of it much closer to the dream life that you want to be living than otherwise. So thank you so much for bringing that up, because you're absolutely right. With the conscious life practices, that's really where it's at. Those are the tools that I have many clients that don't ever use microdosing or anything. I give them the education if they need it, but many of them don't need anything outside of those practices. So to know that and to emphasize that we have all the tools we need right here, right now within us. It does not exist in something outside of us, even psychedelic medicines, though powerful tools.
It's one of my favorite parts, and it's one of my favorite parts of this podcast across the board, is that so many beautiful experts come here and speak of what it means to sit in the psychedelic realm. And indubitably part of that experience is the refinement in the preparation process. I think of Brandon Evans in our most recent episode where he was voicing there's a dieta beforehand. There's a complete alteration of what we are imbibing. There's an absence of caffeine, an absence of any mind-altering substance. And that alone is such an expander. That alone, the refinement, the getting, again, this word intentionality, getting intentional about how we treat these temples we live in, and refining down to excluding all funky stimulation in every quadrant of life in and of itself is such perfect preparation for that trip, but such perfect preparation for life in general. And I appreciate that so much in the book, of just reminding us that yes, psychedelics are there, and what an epic time to be alive where this conversation is so present. And also let us honor the shadow frequency of the what is that word? The magnifying glass on the psychedelic experience as an outlet of a quick fix, as an option for a grand pivot and a grand romantic experience to take us out from the mundane day to day. But there's so much courage and beauty in conscious life practices as a vessel to reach a similar destination. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And, I always say this too. It's even if you do have a draw towards psychedelics, you got to explore yourself. You got to explore your boundaries of this physical world. Psychedelics are that romantic space that you speak of, the feelings that people have, that you don't have to feel this world the same way. But when you come back, when you learn and you integrate, it's about creating a better life here in the physical world, not elsewhere, in the physical world. And to know how the universe had to come together for us to have this earth, have life on it. My God, every time I think of that. Like you look at the moon and you're like, whoa, you had to be here and the sun had to be there and the galaxy had to be created in this very unbelievably intelligent way for us humans to take these temples on. This is where the magic is. The senses, of me sitting next to my beloved and touching his arm, the warmth, the smells, the things that I'm seeing around me, that's what I have to remind myself to keep indulging in. And it's such a blessing to truly be here and be engaged with this. What a miracle.
As Deepak Chopra says, everything is exactly as it should be. It's our internal, manifestation of emotion towards those things that can either make us love life and grow from it or make us miserable. So it's not the external. And you keep stressing that, but it's good to mention that, everything else as it should be. And it's our emotions towards them is what highlights and paints our life in the colors we choose to.
That's beautiful.
Anxious.
I have nothing else to say.
Very weird.
That's a rarity.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And honestly, as you work on yourself, it's the relationships that you come across and your relationships deepen in a different way of honesty, of authenticity, of vulnerability, of openness, of I make mistakes. I'm so sorry. Will you forgive me? Instead of no, I know everything. No one knows everything, and that's okay, as we shouldn't. That's the mystery of life, and it's fun. And and it's challenging and it's fun all at the same time. And I was just talking to a dear friend who I shared that with you this morning. She was like, I thought for a very long time that transformation is difficult and it's going to be challenging all the time. And then I was like, I'm kind of tired of being challenged, like challenge after challenge, it's like too much. And so she's like, I sat and talked to the universe and said, universe, I'm happy to change. Can we do this in a fun way where I can enjoy it? And I will enjoy it. Just give it to me in an enjoyable way. And so that's also, we can rewrite the story because, for me, it's always been, if it's not challenging, you're not learning. I'm just at that space where I'm like, no, I don't necessarily have to be challenged constantly to learn and to evolve. Mm-hmm. I can do it through joy. So the more I step into the space that I'm the most authentic and the less fear I have of that, because I had fear of speaking up about any of this for forever, and you saw me through this journey too, Elle, and you, of course. And so that's so cool to have you here because you've known me for so long. Oh my God.
There's stories, but we're
through
not
stuff. Okay. Let me just say, we'll leave it for another time. But it's anyways, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. So your intention in writing the book, do you want to put any words to what you hope listeners emerge with?
Or to evolve in joy. To evolve in joy and to expand in joy. Yeah. And when challenges do come, sure, engage with them, and that's important always. But why not evolve with joy? That's my new intention.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. An invitation to, be excited about evolution as opposed to daunted by it.
Yes. And that by itself is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Of not being afraid to change
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing. I have some older clients who have a much harder time. They've been with these patterns for so long. And you have to have willingness, number one, to want to move forward and change patterns that don't serve us anymore. But if there isn't that, then it doesn't work. You have to have that willingness. And so in the book, that's my first thing too. Got to have willingness to change. And then there are ways, and that's the beauty of it. I think with the newer generation and some of the older generations, which is amazing. They're my clients. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. I have people in their 80s, from 60s to 80s, in the older generation who are, part of my clientele. And it's fascinating and it's very courageous of them to want to try something different because they feel that they're like, this isn't right. I've lived this way for so long, but if there's better, why not? Why not? Why shouldn't I engage in it? And there's so much great research and evidence on all of that. And again, we emphasize and re-emphasize the conscious life practices. And that's always the bread and butter. It's all the layers that we do has to do with that. And then we get into trauma, and when we have not resolved and examined our trauma, it is heavy. Life can be very heavy to move forward in. So there's this backward pull that we feel. But once we examine it, and there's fear in that, of examining your old trauma, and what are you going to see? How are you going to feel? But usually it's very curious that when I walk people through their trauma and we bring love to it, their world starts to shift. And it's in that shift that not only their world shifts, their loved ones, like their kids, start shifting in ways that are just unimaginable. Like these are stories of people, and it's just so cool. I can't even make it up. But, I have clients whose, daughter is, identifies as, male, and wants to go through the therapy, older child, in late teens, and then he wants to be a swimmer, and is on the swim team at school, but it wasn't happening before the mom was doing the work,
Mm.
and it's just so fascinating to be a part of this story, be a part of this evolution of an individual, of a being who's just so intelligent and so
Mhm.
elegant and so beautiful.
You can acknowledge it because you have such visceral life experience of this, of confronting your own burnout and confronting the medical system and your ancestry of grandfather being this holistic, beautiful humanitarian doctor, and then practicing medicine in the States and noticing how this was such a interesting capitalistic expression business model of medicine. And then once you own this and make your pivot and
Mm.
have these hard conversations, it shifts your relationship with your family and your kids. So it's so lived. Like everything I ever hear you say is from such an embodied experience of you've done it too. And so I just love that part of who you
Oh,
be.
thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's true. Man, do I hold myself to all the things that I talk about in the book,
Yeah.
because it is
Yes.
a lived experience.
Yes, you do.
And it's not yesterday's lived experience, it's today's lived experience. It's
Work.
every day, you know?
Yeah.
Some of it, of course, part of my journey, as you described, but I still deal with that, as we're creating our hospice practice, really going back to that vision and mission of being true to who I am and what I care about and what my values are, which is healing and community healing. And so bringing that into the practice. And, it's very interesting. As you said, I experienced both the very humanitarian side and also the very business capitalistic, profit front side. And now I'm figuring out, hey, what am I? Because there's such spectrum, that I've gone through and seen and experience that I'm like, sure, the financial part matters, right? To keep the lights on, to actually be able to give good care to patients, to be able to pay our staff, to take care of our staff's family, and take care of our community. That's part of the equation. And I talk about financial consciousness in the book also, which is something I had to learn, on my own as well, which is wonderful. Just because when you're an employee, it's very different than when you're a business owner. As an employee, you get a monthly paycheck and you're like, oh, fine, and you're comfortable. And I was in this comfort zone of complacency, and I was doing good stuff, but not to this level of having to step into myself and show up for myself and not be silent about my truth and and the work that I do. So that itself has been an interesting journey, but to also make friends with the financial world and say, which is all in me, and say, okay, to live this life, the way I'm living it, this is how much money I need. And this is what we would need for our patients, this is what we need for our staff, and being conscious of all of that. And then, knowing and continuously looking at our North Star, which is that community healing. And in fact, in our, hospice practice, we're going to be taking about 10 to 15% pro bono patients, but we have to do it very smart, because if we don't do it in an intelligent way, not only from in practice of medicine, of course, that's just bread and butter, but also financially, then you can go under and then you're not serving anybody.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so really engaging all of it into the practice has been also very interesting and fun. Yeah.
Mhm.
So creating our own micro healthcare model that truly cares about our employees and our patients and our community is what we're creating. And we keep going back to it. We're like, cannot lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Cannot. And no amount of money can ever come in the way of good relationships and connection and any of that. So yeah, we're constantly looking at that.
Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Well, all of this and more is found in the book. It will be linked in the show notes. You know how to access it. And yeah, beautiful to tune in with your creation. And I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
to share this with the listeners.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want to let the listeners know too that we do have, there's a protocol for how to microdose in the book too. That starts in part 6 of the book.
Mhm.
And it goes through the science and the research and the dosing and how you can do it on your own and all of that, because it truly is a beautiful healing medicine that's natural. It comes from the earth, and we've evolved with it. We've evolved because of it. So of course, that's also part of the discussion in the book, and it's a tool that can be used. And then you have a lot of client stories. Those are my gems, okay?
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They make that's in part 6 and on of the book, in the psilocybin section of the book, where my clients who gave me permission to share their story anonymously. One of them was like, "No, go for it. Just use my whole name." I'm like, "It's not.
Yeah.
I'll do that." But quite incredible stories, and they inspire me. I learned so much through this work. It's never boring, and that's one of the things I also love about it is there's variability, is new experiences, people, every single individual is completely different. And yes, we have running themes of the structure that we go on within my self-discovery program. And can I mention, actually, with the book also comes, the same structure I hold in the book. It's also my self-discovery program, which is an 8-week program. It's one-on-one. We've just learned so much in that space and get into trauma and get into how to examine trauma, how to move forward. And it's this very intimate work that we do. And then there is a certification program that I also offer. It's usually geared towards physicians who are kind of in between practicing medicine and not anymore, or they're already physician coaches and they want to, add something onto their coaching, or they're full on medical practicing physicians and they're like, my patients are asking, what can I tell them, And so the certification program is 8 weeks of self-discovery. And then after the individual's done with that, then it's 8 weeks of observerships. So I get to observe them. I give them feedback. They have to go through competencies. It's a very comprehensive thing that we go through and offering, and then they can practice in their practice using medicine if they choose to, and if they're in a state that's legal, such as Oregon or Colorado, and New Mexico's right behind, and many states are lighting up, like Michigan and even DC is. And then I also offer retreats. I don't know if you knew that, Elle. Yeah, did you see this? So I have a women's retreat coming up in August 1st through the 7th. And it is delicious. It has individual coaching beforehand, group coaching beforehand, 7 days of immersion in nature and city. It's a really cool combination of both. We have access to natural hot springs and a nature reserve and a vision walk and indigenous Mazatec psilocybin ceremony, microdosing, And it's only going to be with psilocybin and integration into life and also city life. It's going to be in San Miguel, which is a very nice balance of the two, so that the individual who goes through this session it's integrated fully back into their daily life when they come back to the United States, and they're like, you're not shell shocked and like, oh my God, how do I connect back into what I knew? And then we also have sessions of private coaching afterwards with integration work and also group. Also, truly creating this expansive container with the community of women, physician women, or most of them are physician women. And so it's going to be just amazing. And the people on the ground, this is Santa Rosa Sanctuary. Santa Rosa means healer.
Mm.
Sanctuary. And so just can't wait for that. I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
She's a woman in her purpose. She is. Look at all these offerings. Yum.
Yes. It's taken a decade. Okay.
Okay. All links to voiced offerings will be below. Anything else you want to leave with our listeners today?
But that's it. That's it. If any of this interests you, there's many different ways to get educated on the subject matter. The book one, the podcast being another. We have a newsletter that comes out once a month. And then, these offerings are when we really get deep into, if you really have things that are holding you back, traumas that are holding you back, we can get through. You're not alone, and you can always schedule yourself a complimentary discovery call, and that'll be in the show links as well. But yes, thank you. So much gratitude to be in this space. So much. I'm so blessed to be here. And thank you for holding this space, Elle.
I love you.
Love you.
I love you. We'll see you soon, listeners. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Yay.